Wodapalooza workout 4, 150 wall balls, 75 toes to bar. Do it however you want.
I love this workout.
I love it. I don't think I've ever seen a qualifier workout or in an event like this where it's just like, have at it, have fun.
Well, I mean, you can't in a competition setting.
It's too hard, right?
It's too hard to manage.
Judge.
But in your own setting, I mean, wouldn't you love to just always break down a workout however you wanted?
Yeah, I love
time?
it. It allows there to be 1,000 different ways of doing it. Everyone's going to do it differently. It's going to be really cool to see what strategy ends up being like the first one by the end of the weekend. One of them, like, there'll be one that everyone starts to do. I think there's a couple important things before you even talk about strategy. Your setup is super important on this, going from wall balls to toes to bar. If you work out at a gym that has a rig away from the wall, try to find somewhere else to work out.
Yeah. Or maybe measure a mark on your rig that you can toss the wall ball to. But if you have to take more than like 2 or 3 steps between your movements, you're just gonna lose too much time.
Our rig is right by the wall. It also has wall ball targets on it, so transition times are gonna be super short, which is great. That's not the case for everyone. And your strategy can and should depend a little bit on that as well. If you have longer transitions, you might want to cut down how many of them you have. Some other stuff that you talked about is grips.
Yeah, so before even talking strategy, so use grips. There's no need to tear during this workout. The transitions will be quick, so you'll always be back to toes to bar, depending on the way you do it, probably relatively quickly. You want to manage your sweat, so make sure you put some sort of sweatbands on or have a towel nearby. Have your chalk ready to go.
Love your sweatbands.
And I think if you are smart about chalking or placing chalk on your grips, you shouldn't have to chalk very often.
Yeah, if you're wearing grips, and depending on your strategy, you're not going to need to chalk that much. I think most people are going to break it down into smaller sets, and the toes to bar, you're not going to be doing huge sets. If you have grips, you're not going to need to stop and chalk every single time.
No.
It's almost like habit for some people and just wastes too much time.
Yeah.
Real quick, like I said, I think there's going to be 100 different ways people do this. We wanted to talk about like the 3 main ones that I think you'll see people do. If you're an elite athlete, if you very efficient at toes to bar, and you know you can push on this, something like 5 or 6 rounds, like 5 rounds of 30 and 15 is probably the way to go. If you know you can maintain those toes to bar.
Yeah.
It limits your transitions, and if you can push the whole time, I think that's the way to go. And that's probably what you'll see like the top level athletes gravitate towards, I think.
Yeah, I think people sometimes underestimate the shoulder fatigue from wall balls going into toes to bar. So if you're not efficient at wall balls,
and again, when I say elite, like, you know this, we're talking about people that do Karen unbroken or in 2 sets. So elite athletes have the capacity to do a Karen unbroken. If you can do 150 wall balls unbroken, 5 rounds of this is fine.
Yeah.
30 wall balls is not taxing at all, and by all means, that's a great strategy. Stick to it. For lower level athletes, for guys that are newer, not as efficient on toes to bar, I think doing something like 10 rounds, where you're doing 15 wall balls every round and alternating between 8 toes to bar one round, 7 toes to bar the next, is probably the way to go. Way more transition time, so you got to be careful with like stopping the chalk and taking your time.
Yeah, there's also
away.
a lot more rounds and a lot more things to remember about alternating. So again, have somebody that can count your reps.
Yeah.
And keep tally of your rounds, so you know if you're on 8 toes to bar, 7 toes to bar.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go back to your video and notice that you did like 73 toes to bar.
I think everyone's gonna do that. There's gonna be so many videos like, oh, I'm sorry, I did 154 wall balls. Can you adjust my time? I did this many. And
yeah.
You're gonna need a counter on this for sure.
So you want to make sure that you get that first attempt in, because I do think that this one is repeatable if you do it like the day after you do workout number 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough depending on how hard you push for workout 3. But yeah, I agree with you. This is more repeatable.
If you're in a situation where you need to repeat one of the workouts, this is the one to repeat.
Yeah. Real quick, one other strategy I wanted to talk about, and something we're going to try with a lot of our athletes, is starting off with a bigger set of toes to bar. So once you're fresh, doing maybe 25 toes to bar, they don't have to be unbroken, something like 10, 10, 5. Now you're down to 50 toes to bar, and you can start doing more manageable sets. You can do like 5 rounds of 20 to 25 wall balls, 10 toes to bar. When those 5 rounds are done, you're done with toes to bar. You'll have something like 35 to 50 wall balls left, and at that point you just sell out and finish your wall balls. You die on them.
Yeah,
That's fine.
So the cycle time of a toast bar is way faster than the cycle time of a wall ball, but you can cycle through wall balls and kind of like, I would say, suck it up a little bit more to knock out, like 5, 8, 10 reps at a time. Whereas toast to bar, like once that grip starts to go or your abs start to burn out, you're reduced to singles or triples.
You're done.
And then the amount of rest you need in between,
and the more
it's
your
just
quads
gonna add
get
up.
pumped,
Yeah.
your flexors get pumped, the toast bar just become harder. So I think for a lot of people, it's going to be good to get those out of the way. Leave yourself with a big chunk of wall balls and just sell out. Just go for it. Anything else? I think that's it.
Just another good glute warm up, and good luck.
Cool. Good luck. Follow us at teamsoultrain.com. Subscribe.